Thank you very much. Please be seated. Your Honor, the Vice President, the Honorable Speaker, Your Honor, the former Vice President, Minister Molale, Your Excellency, the UNDP representative, Mr. Stephen Devereux, from the University of Sussex, Honorable Ministers, Your Excellencies, Heads of Diplomatic Missions, allow me just to stop there for the other distinguished guests and say all protocol observed, and a very good morning to all of you. I'm delighted to be able to join you here this morning for the official opening of this International Conference on Poverty Eradication. To those of you who are visiting Botswana for the first time, like Minister Molale invited you to do, I hope that whilst you're here, you will enjoy the generous hospitality extended to you by the citizens of this country during your stay here. The participation of many countries and international organizations at this conference that is jointly hosted by the government of Botswana and the United Nations Development Programme is an indication of the importance that you attach to the topics that you will be deliberating upon pertaining to the effective policies and programs for eradicating poverty. The theme for the conference, and I quote, "Leaving no one behind in the fight against poverty, exclusion and inequality," is a clear testimony to your unwavering commitment to finding lasting solution to these issues of fighting abject poverty. The theme, "Leaving no one behind," is also a guiding principle for the implementation of the United Nations 2030 Agenda and the Sustainable Development Goals. As you're all undoubtedly aware, the first of the 17 commitments of the SDGs is to eradicate poverty based on the International Poverty Datum Line. It is therefore gratifying that the international community, through the framework of Sustainable Development Goals, has placed poverty eradication at the center of the Sustainable Development Agenda, a noble cause that will undoubtedly contribute immensely to humanity. Similarly, the African Union, through its Agenda 2063, has also committed member states to eradicate poverty within one generation, while building shared prosperity through social and economic transformation. Taken together, these are bold but necessary and achievable undertakings. At the end of the day, if some are vulnerable to impoverished conditions, we actually are all affected. A truly prosperous nation is one which provides for all of its citizens to enjoy dignified livelihoods. It is therefore my hope that the interaction between government officials, non-governmental organizations, and experts over the next 2 days will contribute in no small measure to the development of a robust poverty eradication programs whose implementation will not only be efficient and needs to be, but will also be results-oriented. In this respect, I need to point out that this conference is taking place at a very challenging time indeed, because millions of people continue to live in abject poverty all around the world. The global picture of people living in poverty, particularly in developing countries, is not encouraging. The latest statistics from the 2016 World Bank report indicates that more than 700 million people of the world's population still live in extreme poverty, and that the majority within these vulnerable groups are children. It is of great concern that whilst other regions such as South Asia, East Asia, and the Pacific, are making notable achievements in the fight against poverty, Sub-Saharan Africa is still lagging behind. This conference, therefore, is a welcome opportunity for us to learn from the experience and the successes of others from around the world. The participation of countries beyond the SADC region will definitely give a broader and global perspective to the discussions and the recommendations that this conference will no doubtably come up with. To this end, I'm informed that this conference is meant to take stock of how far countries have introduced poverty eradication programs and how far they have gone in terms of implementation of their national poverty eradication programs and strategies. This assessment will enable participants to identify areas of progress, to identify obstacles and possible solutions, as well as appropriate interventions in fighting poverty, and importantly, to share with each other these strategies. As this nation's president, I made a commitment that one of the priorities of my government would be to eradicate poverty with a view to ensuring that every citizen of this country does indeed enjoy a dignified life. Previously, there was an emphasis that we had on poverty alleviation, but since 2009, we made a major policy shift geared towards poverty eradication. The policy shift was meant to take our people out of poverty, strengthen and increase the scope of the poverty eradication programs and social safety net programs. Amongst the changes in terms of focus, which are clearly articulated in our current National Development Plan, was recognition of the need for greater effort to secure a pattern of economic growth that is more inclusive, with a corresponding reduction in inequalities. Our National Long-Term Vision 2036 also recognizes the fact that poverty eradication is indeed attainable. The government's shift from poverty eradication to that of from poverty reduction to eradication was in view of the recognition that to achieve the objective would require changes to the approaches that were adopted in the past. In this regard, an understanding of the non-income dimensions of poverty, such as access to education, health, shelter, and nutrition, also recognize their role in poverty eradication. Further changes in the national approach to poverty eradication took place through the launching of the Poverty Eradication Guidelines in the year 2011. This resulted in the program being rolled out to a number of targeted income-generating projects aimed at enhancing the capacity of households to exit poverty through self-employment. This outcome is based on the provision of materials to beneficiary households in the form of grant asset transfer and the necessary training in the area of enterprise development in order to ensure sustainability. As the poverty eradication program has rolled out, emphasis was given to targeting more vulnerable groups such as women and the youth through additional initiatives such as the Youth Development Fund and the Women Economic Empowerment, amongst others. I'm happy to announce that this move has significantly improved the lives of many of our people, as the latest information from the Multi-Household Survey of 2017 conducted by Statistics Botswana attests to this. Survey results show that the proportion of people living below the poverty data line has been declining over the years. The timing of the convening of this conference is especially appropriate as we are working on the national strategy on poverty eradication. I'm also happy to announce that my government is finalizing this poverty eradication strategy, which will be of great assistance to us in the implementation of the goals and targets that we have set ourselves to take everybody out of poverty. I note that the agenda for this conference has a range of interesting topics, speakers, and experts who certainly would provide insight into the needs to be done. In this connection, I'm confident that the conference discussions will be stimulating and in the end require us to review and to reshape our strategies towards the implementation of these programs. I wish to conclude my remarks by once again welcoming with gratitude the convening of this important conference in Botswana and express my fervent hope that it will benefit all our countries and our development partners. I'm confident your deliberations will enrich our knowledge of issues pertaining to poverty eradication, such as targeting, assessment, monitoring and evaluation, and graduation models. I do urge you to explore the ideas that will concretize efficient systems that can be of great value to all of us. I wish you fruitful deliberations and success in implementing the outcomes and recommendations of this conference, which I now have the singular honor to declare officially open, and I thank you for your attention.